Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Little Likac podcast, episode 59. My name is Amanda and I'm looking around for where my camera lens bit is today. My name is Amanda and I am coming to you from Derby in the United Kingdom. Today is Monday the 21st of October. It is about 10:30 in the morning and I am on a half term. Woohoo! So I'm in a bit of a hyper mood. And welcome to my podcast. This is a podcast that is predominantly about knitting and a little bit of crochet and just maybe, if I've been visiting any yarn stores, which I have been, again, little things like that. So yeah, it is a knitting and in brackets crochet podcast. So today I have no finished objects to show you. I do have a frog object to talk about. So I've got a frogging. I've got some works in progress and I've also got some plans for what's coming up. So if you like my channel, please subscribe. I would love it if you would subscribe, and even better as well if you'd press the little bell icon, which means that you get an alert every time I upload new content. I am planning on vlogging in November, so from the 1st of November. My plan at the moment is to try and vlog every day, but we'll see how that goes. I've got a few ideas for some content and things to show you. So I think I'll be calling that Vlog Member. If you've got any other ideas for what I should call it, I mean, I did think of Vlog Member, but I think it needs to have the G in it as well. So thinking I'm going to call it Vlog Member. If you have any other ideas or know what other podcasters call their vlogs if it's in November, then do let me know in the comments below. Anyway, where can you find me? I haven't done all of that jazz. I haven't really done proper introduction about myself for a while, so let's just do a little bit of that. So my name is Amanda. I am an English teacher, secondary school teacher. I live in Derby, as I said. I'm married, got a husband. I have two daughters who are both at university, so they are back and forth when we see them. I have a dog, the cutest dog in the world as far as I'm concerned, called Stu. His character's not always cute. He can be a bit of a so-and-so. But generally speaking, he's just not very good with strangers. He's really hit and miss with strangers. Some strangers, he will just love them, lie on his back. Please rub my tummy. I love you. I love you. Other strangers, he just goes crazy at them. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. Anyway, so yes, we have a dog called Stu. We also have two gerbils. They are my daughter's gerbils. But once she went to university, they were in her bedroom and we were worried we would forget to look after them, so they are now downstairs as well. And we have 3 chickens in the garden as well. So that's kind of everybody I live with and everything I live with. I currently work full time as a teacher, which as a secondary school teacher is fairly full on. I also have an indie yarn business as well, where I dye yarn and I do a few shows. Because I'm so busy with my full-time job and I do exam marking as well, the indie dyeing kind of goes in a little bit of fits and starts. I'll have a few months where I can really do a lot of work on it, and then I have a few months where it's quieter because I'm busy doing other work. So yes, that's really about me. I am 50 years old. Turned 50 this year. And yeah, that's it really. That's me. My favourite hobbies, funnily enough, are knitting and crocheting, and I listen to a lot of audiobooks. Obviously, as an English teacher, I do like reading, and when I'm on holiday in particular, I read a lot. But really, actually, I listen to a lot of audiobooks these days, so I still love books, but I do tend to listen to them more than I actually read books these days. I listen to more books than I physically read. Obviously, though, I'm reading all day in class, in school, so I do a lot of reading during the day, every day anyway. Right, so yes, that's it about me. I film my podcast in this little office. The office is separate from the rest of our house, and it's actually turned quite chilly these last few days. We've had a ridiculous October in the UK, way too warm for what it should be. I mean, yes, on the one hand, I like that it's warm weather, but it really worries me. It really worries me from a climate point of view. Anyway, this week it has suddenly turned cold and I forgot to put the heater on down here. Normally in the colder weather, if I know I'm going to be down in the office, I'll pop the heater on maybe about an hour before I come down here just to warm it up. So I am wearing my lovely hat instead. I love this hat, by the way. It was just an excuse to wear this hat. So I'm wearing this hat to keep me a little bit warm, and I've got a blanket on my lap. This was a crochet blanket I made a couple of years ago. I made it during lockdown, actually, when I really sort of learned a bit more crochet properly. So yeah, and I'm also wearing, I'm wearing knitted socks, but I'm wearing my Stitches tee. It says Yarnivore on it. Wearing that today, and yeah, just trying to keep myself. Oh, and I'm wearing these crazy earrings that my eldest daughter made for me. In the summer, she really got into sort of beading and making beaded jewellery and things, and when I got home from holiday, she made me these. Oh, cute. Okay, so yeah, that's all the. What am I wearing? This is called. I think it's called a nap rather than a hat, and it is designed by Jackie from, oh my goodness, all the information's gone out of my head. What's her, oh, I'll put it down here. This is going to drive me, that's going to really annoy me now. She's a lovely lady. She dyes her own yarn and she designs these amazing colour work patterns. So she does hats and jumpers. Her name is Jackie, but she, oh goodness me, cannot think what her business name is, but I was next to her on a stand at Wallet Junction 13 last year, 2022, and we got chatting, and now whenever I see her at other yarn shows, I always make sure I pop over and say hello to her. But yeah, trust me, she has some beautiful colourwork patterns. Right, anyway, let's get on with the show. Let's start with what I frogged. Okay. So last podcast I talked about some of the things I wanted to get finished before Christmas, including some works in progress. And I showed you a pair of socks that I started back in, I think it was 2020. And I'd knitted pretty much a full sock for my husband, and then discovered it didn't fit him. So I started knitting a second sock on bigger needles. Also, I thought, and I kept the first sock unfrogged, so that I could double check that this second sock was knitting up bigger. So I knitted the cuff, the rib cuff, on 2.5mm needles, and then I'd started the colour work on 2.75, which is what the pattern said. Anyway, I did about an inch or so of the colour work and then compared it to the first sock, and it was no bigger. It was no bigger at all. And I kind of looked at it and I thought, I don't want to go on to 3mm needles for on sock wool. I just think it's going to be too loosey-goosey. The tension's not going to be right. So I frogged it. I frogged the whole lot, which was a little bit sad. So I have a ball of yellow, which is Signet Wool Rich. So I frogged what I'd used of that. Of Wool and the Gang glitter ball sock yarn. So I've still got a full ball of this, 100 grams. Now I am not going to lie, it's a little bit rough and a little bit scratchy, and it's kind of got a high twist. And so I frogged the socks, and then I was trying to think, well, what will I use that for? And I suddenly remembered, let me see if I can find it because I brought it down with me. Yeah, I suddenly remembered I had got these 2 skeins of yarn that I had pulled out of stash because I wanted to see if I could use them on another project, which they're not going to work for. And these are absolutely gorgeous, from Chromatic Yarns, Corner of Craft, the Dungeon Master's Wife, and I got 2 skeins of these from Yarndale in 2022 in her bargain bucket. I think they might be very slight seconds because they've got a tiny bit of split dye, but it doesn't bother me at all, and I know myself how easily that can happen. Now this is also fingering weight sock yarn with sparkle, and it feels like it's a relatively similar makeup to this. This one does still feel a bit rougher, but anyway, I had been trying to decide what to do with these, and I wanted to do something colour work with like a dark contrast colour. Now I'm thinking I'm going to use that as the main colour, probably on one of the unwind knitwear patterns, and that as the contrast, and I think it's going to be stunning, absolutely stunning. I mean, maybe I could even do something that's a Christmassy design, I'm not sure. But anyway, I just think that's going to be just beautiful. So yeah, that is my plan, is to actually use that as the main colour and that as the contrast. And yeah, I mean, as I say, I could pretend, no, actually I'm not going to do something Christmassy because I want to be able to wear it whenever I want. So that's the plan. That is going to go with that, and it's going to go into my list of many many plans for next year, I suppose. I'd love to cast something on with that, like now, but anyway. So yeah, the sock yarn is definitely not going to go to waste. The yellow stuff I'm not so bothered about. That might just go into some scrappy blankets and things. I'm not so fussed about that, but yeah, I definitely feel like I can put together all that sparkly yarn and make something gorgeous with it. Okay, so yeah, so not a finished item, but a frogged item that is no more, and I'm going to try never to think about it again. And it is sad because I think my husband would have really liked them, but I just can't get them to be big enough to fit him. Never mind. Right, so what next? So when I spoke to you a few weeks ago, I thought I had kind of gone through all my whips from before the start of the year, and then when I was having a bit of a tidy up, talking of tidy ups, I need to have a major tidy up down here. I'm going to have a bit of a stash sort while I'm off as well. I came across a pair of socks that I had started probably this time last year and literally just done that much off of, and then I'd wanted the needles for something else, so I've taken them off the needles, put them onto a cord, and then it's just been hidden away. So the sock yarn is this self-striping one, West Yorkshire Spinners, and I think I've got the, yes, and it's one of the Zandra Rhodes designs. So West Yorkshire Spinners, Zandra Rhodes, signature 4-ply. The colourway is Forest Stripes 1026. And so I thought, where was I going? Oh yeah, I went down to Minehead last weekend to spend the weekend with my brothers, and I thought I need to take something with me that is mindless knitting, and I didn't have anything that was mindless knitting, or certainly not anything that was a small project of mindless knitting. So I thought, right, let's throw those socks back on the needles rather than starting another pair. Let's throw those back on the needles and have these are going to be kind of my car knitting, really. Car knitting. I'll have them in my car so that if I'm going to knit group or get stuck in my car, to talk about actually in a second, then they are in there. So that's how they are knitting up. So literally, I think I had got maybe about, yeah, I was on the bluey brown bit actually. So I'd literally just done that, and then as I say, taken them off the needles. So found them, put them back on some needles. I'm using Knit Pro 2.25mm, and I'm just doing a vanilla sock. So got quite a lot done actually in the last week. As I say, I took them down to Minehead last weekend. So on the Friday evening, well, we went out actually on the Friday, and we went to Butlins for one of their big weekenders, and it was Oktoberfest, and it was just good fun. It was just me and my two brothers, no families, and when Butlins do these big weekenders, they have no children there, no families, it's just adults only. I was a bit worried about, was it going to be really leery, and it wasn't. It was just really good fun atmosphere, and me and my brothers had some quality time together and we just really enjoyed ourselves. So yeah, so there wasn't a huge amount of knitting time, but we had some downtime. And on the Saturday I went to a yarn shop, and then on the Sunday I wasn't feeling brilliant actually. I was beginning to feel a little bit unwell, and so on the Sunday my brothers wanted to go for a longer walk along the seafront, and I was like, do you know what, I think I'll just come down to the seafront. It was a beautiful morning, and I'm just going to plonk myself down on a bench and sit and knit, which is what I did while they went for a little walk. So I worked on it then, and then I have had it in my car, and I was going to say about getting stuck. So on Friday in the UK we had a big storm that battered a lot of the country, kind of from the Midlands, the north of England, Scotland, all got battered by this storm called Storm Babette. And it started Thursday night and lasted about 24 hours. And I was driving to work Friday morning. Now it normally takes me, on a Friday morning is normally the quietest morning in the week as well. And it normally takes me 30, maybe 35 minutes to get to work. And I left my usual sort of time, maybe a few minutes later. Anyway, I put on my sat nav, and my sat nav said to me that my usual route was going to take me 10 minutes longer than normal, 45 minutes. And there was a quicker route which was taking some of the back roads, 35 minutes. And I thought, I don't know, it's quite stormy, there's been a lot of rain overnight. I know some of those roads, if there's been a lot of rain, some of those roads can be a bit nasty actually. They can have a lot of surface water, sometimes actually a few inches of water, and even there's the risk of branches having come down and stuff. So I thought, no, I'll stick to my main route, which is all dual carriageway. Again, I know there'll be lots of surface water, and it's potentially going to take me 10 minutes longer today, but I think I'll do that and stick to dual carriageway, just keep my speed down and do that. Anyway, got onto the dual carriageway, just came to a standstill pretty much straight away. Came off the dual carriageway, came round some back roads which were exactly how I've just described, a few inches of water. Well, no, actually there was one bit where it was more like a foot of water that I had to drive through, which I didn't like. Got back onto the dual carriageway. So by this point I was definitely running late, but I thought I was still going to make it on time to actually get to school before school started. I was half a mile away from school, and it took me nearly 30 minutes to do the last half a mile. So it took me 90 minutes to get to school on Friday. And there was one point where I was literally just sitting and doing, and so I did pull the knitting out and do a few rows of it. So yes, so they are going back into the car. I am going to York on Thursday to visit my eldest daughter at uni up there. So I think I'm actually probably going to get the train, but I'll drive to the train station. So those will go with me to York. And then I'm going to go straight to knit night when I get back. So they'll go with me to knit night on Thursday. So they'll get a lot of work done on them on Thursday. I'll probably finish that first sock. So when I was down in Minehead, as I say, on the Saturday I did actually walk to a yarn shop. So I think I'm going to show you now what I bought on that little trip. So I was scrolling through Instagram, as you do, and I saw one of my lovely friends, Suzanne, had knitted, she'd been doing a test knit for another one of my friends, Penny. She'd done a test knit for Penny for something called the Lime Wash Shawl, and Suzanne had put her finished object, her finished item on Instagram, and I was just wow. And I remember when Penny had been calling for testers, I had wanted to test knit it, but because I was also working on the advent wrap, I knew that I couldn't commit to test knitting this shawl. And it's knitted in DK weight, but I saw Suzanne's and I was just, that is just lovely. I knew I wanted to go and have a look at this yarn shop because that is my thing that I've been doing this year, particularly if I'm away anywhere, and I've been away a lot this year. I've been going to yarn shops to try and get some kind of souvenir wool. So I thought, okay, I really love that shawl. What if I go to the wool shop and see if I can get some wool that would be suitable for that shawl? Then I'm buying something with a project in mind, which always makes me feel a bit better. And I'm guessing that the shawl is going to be added onto my list for next year. I can't see it getting done before. Penny is releasing the pattern though in the beginning of November. So you need a contrast, well, you need like a neutral colour, which you need about 200 grams of. It's DK weight. So you need a contrast colour. So this is what I've picked as my contrast colour. And it is kind of a grey, kind of a very lilac-y grey though. It's just beautiful. It's from West Yorkshire Spinners, the Croft, 100% Shetland wool. And I believe this is very much a new colourway. The colourway is called Clate 1152. and it's curated apparently by Sarah Hatton, no relation to me. I do really like Sarah Hatton stuff though, actually. She's a designer. She used to design for Serdar and Rowan, and anyway, lovely designer. So yeah, so I got that as my contrasting colour. Or no, not my contrast, my neutral colour. And then, oh, I spent ages because I knew I wanted quite strong colours for the contrast. I wanted quite strong colours. So because they didn't have a massive selection, but after a little bit of debate, and the guy in there was helping me out, we came up with these three actually, which are Serdar, and they're tweed, but I think they're going to look lovely. So we've got these three colours. So this is Serdar Haworth tweed, and this colourway is Hockney blue. That's not a bad, stop saying Amanda. That's not bad accuracy for the colour. It is a little bit lighter blue than it's showing on there, but it's not bad. Then I also picked up this one, which is Rydale Russet. Yeah, and that's showing pretty well, the colour. And then this one is Heathered Bilberry. And these are all 50% wool, merino wool, 50% nylon actually. And I think those colours, the great autumn colours, but it probably won't be the autumn when I make this. So those three colours I think are lovely. And I think, if you can see, no, not really. There we go, can we see? I think those three colours are going to go really nicely with that lilac-y grey. So it's called the Lime Wash Shawl by Penny Baker, and I reckon I've put a photo anyway. I'll check with Suzanne if I can put a photo of her finished object, and you can probably see why I thought it was lovely. And got the yarn for that from the shop in Minehead, which was called something like Needles and Threads. Again, I'll probably put up a couple of pictures of me or of the shop and me outside. I think I took a little bit of video while I was inside, so I will have put that in as well. So that was some new purchases. I've been so bad this year for buying. I know this year I said I was going to try and use more than I bought, and I was keeping a spreadsheet. I was on a Ravelry group that had a spreadsheet that you could put all your stuff in, and I was doing that religiously January, February and March, but I think in April something went wrong with the spreadsheet, or somebody wasn't updating it, and I kind of got out of the habit. So I think I'm going to create my own spreadsheet next year so that I can try and keep track of what's going out, what's coming in, and again go with the aim for more out than in. Don't know if I would have achieved that this year. Right, and I really can't be bothered to go back and try and work it out. Also, other acquisitions, these were gifted to me. My lovely friend Kate, she had a little sort of her stash, and she offered myself and some other people first dibs out of her stash. And I saw she had got this, which is a lovely self-striping Stylecraft sock yarn. I really love self-striping yarn. I'm going to, so it's going to stripe like that. And this one is called Red Pots. Not sure why it's called Red Pots. There's not a lot of red in it. And I've just seen as well that it's been designed by Lucy from Attic 24, the colourway. So it's Stylecraft head over heels and pretty colours. Make some nice summery socks with those. And then also she'd got some Felici. Now I didn't realise actually when I nabbed it, because she just sent pictures. This is a worsted weight. And again, it looks to me like it would stripe. So it might go, and it's quite thick. I'd say it's almost like an Aran weight actually. Time Traveller is the name of it. And maybe you can make some nice fingerless mitts or something from that. Just 50 grams. No, it's not, it's 100 grams, 200 yards. So yeah, maybe it's DK. Well, it's worsted weight, it says. 218 yards though for 100 grams makes me think of more like DK, to be fair. So yeah, maybe some fingersmiths, maybe a hat. It's quite cool. So I picked those up for free. And actually Kate even gave me a bag. I haven't really looked at this one. Oh, beautiful knitter's bag. Stripy self-striping sock yarn. I have a lot of it. And some lovely friends. I keep saying, oh, it's all about my friends today. It's all, and some of these are people, these are all people that I've met through knitting. So Kate and Penny I know through my knitting group. So I'm really lucky enough to live in a city where there are quite a lot of knitting groups actually. And the knitting group I belong to, we've been going for a long time. And at one point we were down to maybe only about 3 or 4 members. And I had some years where I couldn't go either because of my kids' social life and things like that. So I had quite a few years where I kind of stopped going and then I came back to it. But we're really strong at the moment. We've got, when we meet up, we have between 15 to 20 members all come to each meeting. It's not always the same. So apparently the Christmas meal this year, there's about 30 people going to the Christmas meal. I can't go, unfortunately. Clashes with something at work, which is really irritating, but there we go. So yeah, I'm really lucky that I have a knitting group, big knitting group. So Penny and Kate I've met through there, and I've got other lovely friends from there, Vicky and Michelle and Louise and Nina, and then lots of others as well, Isabel, etc. So many lovely friends through there. And then I mentioned Suzanne. I said about Suzanne, my friend, and I hope she doesn't mind me calling her friend. I only know Suzanne really through through the podcast and through Instagram, but I have met her. I met her at Yarndale this year, which was really lovely. She also sent me Hugs, my lovely little cuddly toy behind here. She sent me Hugs when we were doing a Pay It Forward Makeal Along. Oh, do you know what? We should do that again next year. That was good fun. Right, so anyway, 2 other of my friends, Kelly from Row and Kate, who again I just met through Instagram, but I have now met her 3 times. She's just so much fun. She's got her own podcast. And then she was friends with another designer called Jane Burns, who I also have now met. They have their own podcast together that's called Unity, or Unity. And they've only been doing it a couple of months, I think. Check it out, it's good fun. And they're going to be doing a Makeal Along because Jane's just released a new sock pattern called I'm Too Socky, and it is particularly good for self-striping yarn. So they are having Kelly and Jane are having a Makeal Along for that pattern. Now I'm a little bit overcommitted, as you know, as always, but I still thought, do you know what, I'd really like to do that pattern and I'd really like to do a Makeal Along. So I'm going to be starting it in November. The Makeal Along's running till I think it's the 24th of November. I'm going to start these in November, and they're going to be the project or a project that I'm going to work on particularly while I am vlogging. And it calls for self-striping yarn. And I thought, do you know what, if I'm going to knit these in November, I could do them as some Christmassy socks. And I've got a 50-gram ball of Felici fingering weight, 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon, perfect for socks. And I've got this green, which I think is a Regia, or Regia. I think it's their wool cotton blend actually. So I'm going to use that obviously for the heels, toes and cuffs, and that as the main. Now I may be a little bit tight on the yarn here for this, so I'm planning on doing the rib for the cuffs in this, and then maybe even doing the first sort of stripe, doing maybe 3 or 4 rows of this in the stocking stitch before moving on to this. I'm going to weigh out 50 grams of this, and no, it's 50 grams already. I'm going to split it into 225 grams, and if I get to the end of the 25 grams and I'm still not ready for the toes yet, because I've got 50 grams of this pretty much, I will just go straight. I will do a bigger chunk of green in the toes. So I'll do some more if I need another inch of the foot in green before I start decreasing for the toes. I'll do that. So that's my plan. So I do need to wind this into 225 grams. I'm not going to be fussed then either about the matching stripes exactly. I'm just going to focus on making sure I get use as much of the wool as I can. So I'm going to start that on the 1st of November. But do check out, the pattern is called I'm Too Socky. It is available on Ravelry and Lovecrafts, I believe. So yeah, if you want to join in with that make along, check out Kelly and Jane's podcast. They've got an episode that's called I'm Too Socky, or no, might be Let's Talk About Socks. No, I think the episode is called I'm Too Socky, and it's got all the information about the cowl. And I've just put that into my beautiful bag that I bought at Yarndale the other week, so that I'm going to use that bag for it. So yes, we'll be starting those next week, and you can watch my progress with them while I do my vlog member. Right, so I have got one other whip to show you. Yes, one other whip to show you, and that is the caterpillar cardigan. So you may remember, if you're a follower and you've been watching, thank you by the way if you do keep watching, it's amazing. Why anybody comes back to watch this crazy thing, I don't know. So my neighbour is expecting a grandchild any day now, really, this week. And she wanted an item based around a very hungry caterpillar. And so I found this cardigan pattern, and I have got this much done. Ta-da! So as you can see, I have just got the other sleeve left to do for the main part of the knitting, and then I need to knit the caterpillar, which I'm just going to knit the easier version of the caterpillar, and it gets stitched onto the front. Oh, and then it also has a leaf pocket as well that I need to do. I should have this finished by the end of this week, especially bearing in mind I am off this week. So my aim is to have this finished by the end of this week. The yarns I'm using is a little bit of a mix because it's out of stash. So this one is First Choice double knitting, 100% acrylic. Got it from somewhere like B&M or Home Bargains, 99p. It is actually pretty soft. As I said before, because this is going to somebody who doesn't knit herself, just want to make sure it's something that she can throw in the washing machine and not have to worry about. I mean, it does say hand wash, but I know that you can put this in the washing machine, it'll be fine. Yeah, TJM. Yeah, I think that's Home Bargains. So that colourway is 34, and it's kind of like an off-white. Then I am using Stylecraft Special DK in Sage and also in Lime. And then I've also got this very bright green, which is also a Home Bargains green, a Home Bargains yarn from I think last summer, and I've got about 2 balls of that left. And then the red is also Stylecraft Special DK in the shade Lipstick. I've ordered the most adorable little button. So if you know the story of the very hungry caterpillar, at the start he eats lots and lots of food, and so particularly fruit. And then it's like, you know, I don't know the order, but it's like he eats on the first day 1 apple, then he eats 2 plums, then he eats 3 pears, etc. But then like on this Friday, he eats like everything in sight. It's like he's got PMT. He eats like cake and slice of pizza and sausage, just eats everything. And then he wraps himself into a cocoon and goes to sleep. And then on the Sunday he wakes up and he's a beautiful butterfly. It's such a lovely story. Such a lovely story. So anyway, I thought, wouldn't it be cute to get some buttons that had some kind of fruit or something? So I've got some bright red apple buttons coming to go on there, which I think will be lovely because I've got the red on the cuffs. If I've got time, maybe as well, I'll make a hat as well to go with it. So it will have, which would be white with the red trim as well, if I've got time before baby comes. So plan is to have this finished this week. The pattern is available on Ravelry. It's about £4 something, not sure what that is in dollars. And it's quite detailed and it gives you different options. It's also got hat and booties and it shows you how you could knit the caterpillar design using intarsia, which I really didn't want to bother with. Thought, oh my goodness, all those different balls of wool. So I just I'm doing the second option where you then knit the cardigan, the caterpillar separately and sew it on. The sleeves, you pick up the stitches and knit in the round. It gives you instructions for either grafting the shoulder seams, or if you're not confident with grafting, which by the way it's worth doing because look at that, no seam at all, or it gives you the instructions on, you know, to cast off and seam it. I've got a little hole there in the picking up bits, but that's fine because I've got a thread there, so I'll be able to pull that in. That's fine, that's not a problem. So yeah, so I've just got the second sleeve to do on that, and then the fiddly bits to go with it. So I'm really pleased with how that's coming out. I'm doing 3 to 6 month size. It is quite long, just quite long. I think it's quite long though to give you room to put the caterpillar on it. So it's really cute. And yeah, I think that could be about it. So the self-striping yarn, obviously I said then that I'm going to do the I'm Too Socky socks and Makeal Along, and I am thinking that next year we need to do a socks Makeal Along. Well, I think next year I'm going to challenge myself to knit a pair of socks every month, and I'm going to pick out the yarn in advance, 12 different sock sets or put together packs for 12 pairs of socks. I'm probably going to focus on self-striping with these as well, and so I'm going to pack those up. I'm going to choose them and pack them up, and then I might decide what order I'm going to do them and label them, or I might just almost do it as a kind of a lucky dip. I'm going to go through my stash of sock yarn, and you can come with me when I do that. I'm going to do that on camera as part of Vlog Member. So we're going to go through my sock stash. We're going to pick out the self-striping yarn, at least 12, and then we're going to think about how I'm going to pack them up, whether to label. And what I might do still though is pack them into like paper bags that I can't see them and still label them, and then probably by the time it gets to using them I will have forgotten. So I might do that so that I have got like summery colours in the summer, and then we'll have some sparkly ones going into Christmas. Or yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pack them into some like paper bags, number them, and then hopefully I will have forgotten. So if you're thinking that sounds like quite a good fun thing to do, why not start having a look through your stash? Because the sooner we get them packaged up, especially if we're going to pack them up where you can't see the colours, then you will forget what colours what, and it will be almost like a bit like an advent each month, opening them up going, oh yeah, that's the colour I'm using this month. So if you like the idea of that, that will be starting in January. And we will look at maybe some prizes and things like that as well. I know I've been rubbish with giveaways and prizes etc. this year. It was partly because I'd got a bit overwhelmed with things, and I just thought I just needed a bit of a break from trying to do that. So I still don't want to make any major promises on giveaways and things, because I don't like saying I'm going to do something and then struggling to do it. But yeah, whatever, we'll have fun doing it anyway. So okay, so that is everything for today. The other thing that I have been knitting on I can't show you. It is the Enchanted Delight wrap that will be being released with the advent calendars. I have, I'm hoping I've got a couple of extra advent calendars that I'm going to be able to put on Etsy maybe next week. Just waiting for confirmation that all of the orders have arrived safely, and yeah, it's just a couple that still are en route to their international customers. But yeah, so look out for that. I will put a post on Instagram, and I think I'll send out a newsletter and let people know when they're going to go on to Etsy. So if you missed out on the advent calendar, it's the Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe theme. If you missed out on that and you're interested, make sure you're signed up to my newsletter, and make sure that you keep an eye on Instagram. And I think what I'll do is I'll give people maybe 48 48 hours notice to say when they're going to go onto Etsy, so that if people are interested, they get a chance to buy those. Okay, that is it, my lovelies. I am going now. I have a busy day. I want to get the advent wrap finished this week, so I can get it blocked and then photograph it. Penny and I hopefully are going to go out together and find some places and take some good photos, as long as the weather holds out for us. So yeah, I've got 4 colours left to put in, so the plan is to get that finished over the next couple of days. Right, thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. Please, 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 if you think the sock Makeal Along sounds good, let me know if you're planning to join in with that. Let me know if you're joining in with the I'm Too Socky one that Kelly and Jane are doing. And yeah, let me know about the idea of vlog member as a name, and if you've got a better name than that, let me know. Thank you. Bye.